Korea jokes, Korean jokes. Short Korea jokes. Q. What is Korean Dracula's favorite morning beverage? A. KOHP. Coffee. Q. What does the Korean bread say when it hit the wall? A. Bang. Q. Why is Korean toilet paper so big? A. Because it's huge. EY. Q. What did the mommy Korean turkey say to her baby turkey? A. Gobble gmeh. Q. What has two wings and a halo? A. An Korean telephone, wing wing, halo. Q. What do you call a bunch of Koreans in a pool? A. Rice Krispies. Q. What do you call the brown burnt rice at the bottom of the rice cooker? A. Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown. Q. How does every Korean joke start? A. By looking over your shoulder. Q. What do you call a Korean woman with one leg? A. Irene. Q. How many Koreans does it take to screw in a light bulb? A. It doesn't matter because they're all too short. Q. What's the difference between a smart Korean and a unicorn? A. Nothing, they're both fictional characters. Q. Did you hear about the winner of the Korean beauty contest? A. Me neither. Q. How do you know if a Korean gang robbed your house? A. All the rice is gone and 3 hours later they're still trying to back up out of the driveway. Q. Why wasn't Jesus born in Korea? A. He couldn't find 3 wise men or a virgin. Q. What did the Korean father tell his daughter? A. You allergic to bees? Good. Get A's or see your way out of my house. Q. What do Koreans do during erections? A. They vote. Q. What's the capital of South Korea? A. About $3. So I asked my North Korean friend how his life was going. He said can't complain. Korean pregnancy test, put an unsolved Rubik's Cube into her vagina. If it comes out solved, she is pregnant. My parents are so Korean they honor killed my sister for getting an A on a math test. If you spin a Korean man around, would he become disoriented? I wonder if the Koreans put their smileys like this. Construction. There was this Spanish guy, this Korean guy and this Russian guy all working for the same construction company. At the beginning of the day, the boss comes out and says to the Spanish guy, "You're in charge of the cement." Then he said to the Russian guy, "You're in charge of the dirt." Then he said to the Korean guy, "You're in charge of the supplies." Then he said, "I'm gonna be back at the end of the day to check on your work. It better be good or you're fired." So they all go off to go get their work done. At the end of the day, the boss comes back to check on their work. He looks at the big pile of cement and goes, "Good work," to the Spanish guy. Then he looks at the big pile of dirt and says, "Good work," to the Russian guy. Then he couldn't find the Korean guy, so he asks, "Where the heck is the Korean guy?" All of a sudden, the Korean guy jumps out from behind the big pile of dirt and yells, "Supplies! Captain!" An airplane takes off from the airport. The captain is Jewish and the first officer is Korean. It's the first time they've flown together and it's obvious by the silence that they don't get along. After 30 minutes, the Jewish captain speaks, "I don't like Chinese." The first officer replies, "Oh, no like Chinese. Why is that?" The captain says, "You bombed Pearl Harbor. That's why I don't like Chinese." The FO says, "No, no. Chinese not bomb Pearl Harbor. That Japanese, not Chinese. And besides, I'm not Chinese or Japanese, I'm Korean." And the captain answers, "Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, it doesn't matter, they're all alike." Another 30 minutes of silence. Finally the FO says, "No like Jew." The captain replies, why not? Why? Don't you like Jews? FO says, Jews sink Titanic. The captain tries to correct him, no, no. The Jews didn't sink the Titanic. It was an iceberg. The FO replies, iceberg, Goldberg, Rosenberg, no matter. All same. Currency exchange. A Korean man walked into the currency exchange in New York City with 200,000 Korean won and walked out with $200. The following week, he walked in with another 200,000 Korean won, and was handed $185. He asked the teller why he got less money that week than the previous week. The teller said, fluctuations. The Korean man stormed out, and just before slamming the door, turned around and shouted, "Fuck you Americans, too." Korean pizza. An American businessman goes to South Korea on a business trip, but he hates Korean food, so he asks the concierge at his hotel if there's any place around where he can get American food. The concierge tells him he's in luck, there's a pizza place that just opened, and they deliver. The concierge gives the businessman the phone number, and he goes back to his room and orders a pizza. 30 minutes later, the delivery guy shows up to the door with the pizza. The businessman takes the pizza, and starts sneezing uncontrollably. He asks the delivery man, "What the heck did you put on this pizza?" The delivery man bows deeply and says, "We put on the pizza what you ordered, pepper only." Blindfold. An American man was sitting in his favorite restaurant when a Korean bloke said to him, "I am sick of seeing your big round eyes." The American replied, "Put on a blindfold." The Korean man asked, "Where do I get one?" The American then said, "Here, take my shoelace." Korean sex. There was an American man who lived in Korea, and when he was there he had a lot of sex and never used a condom the entire time he was there. Then he returned to America, and one morning he woke up and noticed bright green and purple dots on his penis. The man freaked out. He went to the doctor. The doctor said, "I have never seen anything like this before. We will need to run some tests." So they ran some tests, and he said, "Come back in 3 days for your test results." The man came back in 3 days, and the doctor said, "I have some bad news. You have a disease called Mongolian HP. It is very uncommon here, and we know little about it. I'm sorry, sir, but we will need to amputate your penis." The man was horrified. He went to a Korean doctor thinking he would know more about it. The doctor said, "Oh yes, Mongolian HP, very rare." "Yes," said the Korean doctor. "The American doctor wants to amputate my penis." "Stupid American doctor, make more money that way, no need amputate." "Oh, thank God," said the man. "Yes, wait 2 weeks, fall off by itself." The foreigner. Once there was a man that came from Korea to America. He couldn't speak English, so he went to choir and learned how to say me 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 me. Then he went to the store and saw a little girl say, "He stole my dolly." And on his way home he went to get meat from the butcher and learned how to say, "Big butcher knife, big butcher knife." Then he went home and watched an air freshener commercial and learned how to say, "Plug it in, plug it in." Then he went to the store and there was a murder. The police said, "Who killed this man?" The foreigner said, "Me me 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 me." The police said, "Why did you kill him?" And the man said, "He stole my dolly." The policeman said, "What did you kill him with?" The man said, "Big butcher knife, big butcher knife." Then they took him to jail and sentenced him to death. The policeman said, "Any last words?" And the foreigner said, "Plug it in, plug it in." 3 guys. There was 3 guys walking down a hill, a black guy, a Mexican guy, and a Korean guy. Then they got kidnapped by a crazy gay guy. He said, "If all 3 of your dicks add up to 12 inches, your lives will be spared." The black guy pulls down his pants and he measured 6 inches. The Mexican measured 4 inches. And the Korean measured 2 inches. Their lives got spared. Walking down that same hill, the black guy said, "You are lucky I am black." The Mexican said, "You are lucky I am Mexican." Then the Korean said, "You are so lucky I had a boner."